We are back here. It is the PRI stage for NHRA 2022 on this final day of the PRI Show. Catching up with Bobby Fazio, noted stock and super stock racer, national event winner, and the proprietor of DriverInterviews.com, among other facets of the sport of drag racing. So I want to talk about a bunch of different things, but let's talk about drag racing stick shift cars first, because that is a specialty of yours.
That is the ultimate fun in drag racing. For anybody that's never driven a stick shift car down the track, it's way, I mean, I don't even have to say this, it's way more fun than driving an automatic, right? Especially a trans brake automatic car that does, you don't have to do anything. So I get to have about 3 to 4 times as much fun as the average racer will say.
High RPM, little 289 car. It's fun to listen to and sidestepping the clutch and just wailing on the handle.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the first time I ever drove that car, my father always told me, you don't know what this is going to be like. I drove an 87 Volkswagen Jetta. That's how I learned how to drive a stick shift when I was young. Thanks, Dad, for the wonderful car. It helped me out of high school. And boy, the first time I drove that car and I got on the RPMs to dump the clutch. First I got on the RPMs, I didn't know how loud it was going to be. So I was like, oh my God. And I just dumped the clutch because I'm scared.
Yeah, right.
And I think it turned out to be like a good light because out of fear. And boy, those shifts come quick.
Yeah.
I mean, rev limiter, shift it. Rev limiter, shift it. Oh my goodness. So it took a couple passes, but I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. The sound of it, the wheelie. Anybody who watches stock and super stock know that we do a lot of wheelies, and yeah, it's great to shift second gear before the front tires hit the ground, or something bad could happen.
That's the move.
Yeah.
That's the baller move. When you're able to snatch second before the front end lands, you're doing something right. One of the things I respect a lot about you, Bobby, is that you see drag racing as a sport with a lot of depth. And it's depth of the people, it's depth of the cars, and your Driver Interviews website is really about adding to that depth and getting into the kind of great stories behind a lot of the people that are out there competing. So talk to me about the genesis of that whole thing and kind of what you got going on going forward.
Absolutely. Now, stock and super stock drag racing, for all the thousands of people walking by waving at me right now, stock and super stock is the car show category. Yep. It's the only category in all of drag racing that car show enthusiasts can really relate to.
Yeah.
Now they'll go to a national event because they want to see John Force go down the track in 3 seconds at 300 miles an hour and shakes the ground, and it's great. However, everybody here, if I was to do a poll, who loves classic muscle cars of the 60s? See, everybody's raising their hands. See, if I said who loves to see a classic 60s muscle car carry the front end 3.5 to 4 feet in the air for 60 feet
with a proper muscle car motor in it,
with a stock block, crank, heads, carburetor, manifold, everybody's raising 2 hands now. See, so the beauty of stock and super stock is you get to see that. It's like going to the car show that you would go to on a weekend on a Friday night that my dad used to drag me to when I was a kid, but you actually get to see the cars doing what they were originally intended to do. Yeah. And on top of that, at any NHRA event, every ticket is a pit pass, so you get to see these cars up close and personal, because at a national event, especially where the crowd is ginormous, we get a lot of foot traffic at our pit. I have a 65 Mustang. What do you have in it? Nitrous? No. Yeah. What do you have in it?
A 289.
A 47 stroke? No. A 289. You have to run what came in the car for that given year, and people are just amazed. Yeah. And then they usually say, well, when are you racing? And we usually say, well, we lost on Friday, and today's Sunday, and there's only 4 of us left.
Yeah, about 2 weeks from now.
Right? So that's what I've been trying to, kind of get NHRA to realize. I feel like a PRI, somebody working at a booth when I'm at a national event. My voice is worn out at the end of the weekend.
You're educating people,
I've been
man.
Talking to people. I hand out flyers that explain the rules of stock and super stock, and then I show them the interviews that I do and the in-car videos. So it brings a whole new fan base, because, like I said, stock and super stock crosses over from racing fan into car enthusiast.
Regular car enthusiast.
So I have a lot of views on my YouTube channel from car enthusiasts that say, oh, I had a car like that. Oh, I love that car.
And it extends to the modern day, right, with our Copos and our drag packs and our Cobra Jets. So even fans of late model performance, younger guys, like I got 2 teenage boys, and they're way more enthralled with looking at a Cobra Jet, a modern Cobra Jet necessarily, than they are, say, a 65 Belvedere or something like that. But it touches across generations.
Correct, it does. It goes across all the generations. Now, I myself, growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was always amazed with the Fox Body Mustang, which is the first car that I purchased out of college. So I raced that in stock eliminator. And that, to the 30-year-olds at the track, they want to see that car.
Oh, yeah.
They want to see the
Yeah.
Fox body, the hatchback. It reminds them of, our time growing up.
Like an N stocker, mid-alphabet
Correct.
car, a little
K,
302.
yep, KJ, JKL stock automatic. I run it in K, and they love that car. And then the older generation, and then some of the younger kids love the 65 Mustang. The 65 Mustang kind of appeals to everybody, but the 30-somethings, they love the Fox body Mustang.
What are the goals when you sit down with a driver to kind of go through your interview process? What are some of the goals? What are some of the things that you like to kind of get out of them?
Well, we love the tech specs, and I've had many people message me that say, hey, this is really cool. I want to get into stock eliminator, and your interviews are helping me because I'm learning the rules and I'm learning all the different technical aspects of the class. And then on top of that, I like to get on a personal level with the driver. What do you do for a living? How did you acquire this car? Wow, you found it in a barn
And
30 years ago?
Usually, like, many of these cars are, I bought this thing 35 years ago, or it was my father's. I mean, there's so many great stories just in terms of the ownership lineage of these cars, in stock and super stock specifically, because they are factory-built cars. There's nothing wrong with having a great, beautiful super gas car, but, chromoly tubing isn't necessarily as interesting to someone who loves cars as a factory paint, Polara or something like that.
Now, I'm slightly biased, but I just want everybody to know that in NHRA stock eliminator at this time, there are 2 original 67 Z28 Camaros campaigning in stock eliminator right now. There is at least 1 original 67 Shelby GT500 campaigning in stock eliminator right now. Several original, Darcy Clark, I just interviewed him, original 64 lightweight Plymouth Savoy racing in stock eliminator. If you guys want to see a car show, go out to an NHRA divisional or national event and check out stock eliminator. You're never going to see a car show like that anywhere else you go, I promise you.
Listen, I'm going to start calling you the Reverend Bobby Fazio. That was a sermon you just gave us there. It was awesome. No, but listen, your passion for drag racing and competition in stock and super stock ranks and in Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series stuff is fantastic. You're a great advocate, a great ambassador for the sport. It's always great to sit down and talk to you. And I know the only place you'd rather be than here is in the driver's seat of the Mustang.
Absolutely. And I also enjoy watching Brian Lohnes teaches a master class on how to announce drag racing, which is very difficult. I've done it a few times, and your brain has to be going 90 miles, per second, and you make it look so easy. The words come to you in a nice fluid manner, and that's the next thing on my list of to-dos is to try and become an announcer. So anybody,
well, you know a guy, and I can help facilitate that. I think you're going to be fantastic at it. So Bobby, thank you for spending some time. Thanks for what you do to keep shining the spotlight on stock and super stock racers at driverinterviews.com. You make sure you check out the website if you want to learn more about that style of drag racing and certainly learn more about the great people that compete in the sport. We'll be back with more from the PRI stage in just a few minutes, and I'm going to go get a few more moments of inspirational speech from Bobby Fazio to keep you smiling all day long. We'll be right back.